Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to my class. This is an introduction to hypnosis. I don't know if any of you know anything about hypnosis, but I decided to put together a little presentation. And then after the presentation, we're going to do a short hypnosis session that I wrote. My name is Meredith. Everybody calls me Mary. I am the founder of Meredith B. Kastner Hypnotherapy here on Long Island. I've been actively practicing for, I'm going to say, almost a year now. I do all of my sessions on Zoom right now because I don't have office space and I like seeing clients now before I get office space. So I figured an online class was a good way to get started. So today we're going to explore the science, history, and applications of hypnosis. A little bit about me first. I'm Mary. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a lifelong Long Islander. I've lived on Long Island for 44 years. I've been a volunteer firefighter and an EMT for 25 years. I'm a trauma survivor. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from a patient assault that occurred almost 20 years ago. So I have been through the thick of it. And I can tell you for a fact that combined with the other treatments that I have gone through, hypnotherapy has absolutely helped me deal with my trauma. I'm a graduate of the Institute for Interpersonal Hypnotherapy in Tampa, Florida. And I am a certified clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist. So I'm going to talk a little bit first about the mind, because in order to understand why and how hypnotherapy works and hypnosis works, we have to talk about our mind and our brain. So we have our mind. We have our conscious mind, which is what we're using all the time when we're awake. That's how we rationalize things. That's where our willpower comes from, our short-term memory. That's what we tap into when we need to plan things, make critical decisions, and that's where our judgment comes from. Now, hypnosis taps into the subconscious mind, which is where we store all of our long-term memories and where our emotions come from and where our habits are stored. So when we learn things along the way, when we start learning things as children, we get into certain habits. And depending on how our parents taught us and how we were dealt with as children, sometimes trauma ends up stored there. And we might not necessarily understand that or know that there's trauma there, but a lot of times our adult habits are caused by things that happened in childhood. Not necessarily trauma, but it can be trauma. And then we also have the unconscious mind, which is everything that our body does that we don't control. Our heart beating, our breathing, our organs functioning. That is all done without our conscious knowledge, because if we had to think about breathing, we would be in trouble if we had to consciously think about breathing every second of every day. So those are the levels of the mind that we deal with, just being human beings. And the subconscious mind, which we tap into when we work with clients in hypnotherapy. So there's a lot of misconceptions about what hypnosis is. A lot of people don't necessarily understand what it is or how it works. So they are very standoffish when you talk about it. People ask me what I do, and I say, well, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I get a lot of funny looks. And I have had people say to me, well, are you going to make me quack like a duck? And I'm like, no, because that's not what I do. There's stage hypnosis, and then there's hypnotherapy. Stage hypnosis is the entertainment part of what we can do. But I don't work in the stage hypnosis realm. I'm a hypnotherapist. I help people with their problems, and I use hypnosis to do so. So what hypnosis is, it's an altered state of consciousness. You're not going to be awake like you would be just functioning throughout the day, but you're not also not going to be unconscious. It takes you from being aware and it drops you into your subconscious mind, and you get super focused, but you're really relaxed at the same time. It's a natural state. Everybody goes into hypnosis during the day, if you know about it or not. Like if you've been driving somewhere you go all the time, if you're driving there, sometimes you'll get there and you'll look around and be like, how did I get here? We call it road hypnosis. You get so used to going there all the time that your brain knows how to get there and will guide you there. So you're safe. And it happens to everybody. It's happened to me more than I'd like to admit. And hypnosis is actually scientifically recognized by the medical community. I know a lot, I've had conversations with a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and therapists about it because they're interested in what we do and what we use it for. There's still a lot of work we have to do getting people to accept that it is a valid form of therapy, but it absolutely works. I've had it work with me, and I've seen it work with my clients. And the changes that we can make using hypnosis are endless. Now, what hypnosis is not? It's not mind control. I'm not going to go in there and make you do or say things that you don't want to do. If you go into hypnosis and you don't want to do something, you're not going to. If you don't want to think about something in particular, your brain is not going to bring that up. If you're not ready to see whatever it is the subconscious is trying to show you, you're not going to see it. You're not going to lose control because you're the one in control. I always tell my clients that they're the ones putting in all the work. I'm just the guide to get them there. I have the training to help them get to where they want to be. They're the ones doing all the work. Hypnosis is also not being unconscious. You're very much aware of what is going on. We sometimes refer to it as sleep, but it's not. The one phrase in school that our instructor used to say all the time, and Kayla will get this reference, it's not the sleep that happens at night. Because people hear us use the word sleep to try, sometimes we'll use it to induce hypnosis, and it's not the same thing. We just use that word sometimes, but it's not the same sleep that you do at night. It's also not dangerous. Hypnosis is very safe because if anytime you can just open your eyes and you'll come out of the hypnotic state. It's better for somebody to be guided through it and come out of it gradually. But if somebody really starts getting into a state where they don't want to do it anymore, I always tell my clients, if you feel like you want to come out of it, just open your eyes and you'll come right back to where we are. So it's not dangerous. And I've heard some people say, oh, it's the devil's work. It's not normal. It's normal. It's not supernatural. It has nothing to do with ghosts or Satan or any of that stuff. Hypnotherapy is used to help people. We're not here to hurt people. And hypnosis is very safe. I've been an EMT for 25 years. I wouldn't voluntarily participate in something that would harm anyone. Which is why when I decided to become a hypnotherapist, I felt like it was an extension of being an EMT. I help people. That's what I do. So when I became a hypnotherapist, I wanted to use it to help people because that's what I do. I like to help people. So it just felt like a natural thing to progress to. We also have different types of hypnosis. Self-hypnosis, I do that a lot, every day, pretty much. You can train yourself or have someone train you how to put yourself into a trance and do work on yourself. Even if it just means deep breathing or laying down on your bed with your eyes closed and repeating phrases over and over again. Self-hypnosis is very useful, especially if you have something like panic attacks or anxiety. That's what I started using it for. And it's a great way to just center yourself and calm yourself down in pretty much any type of situation, because you can do it anywhere. If you practice enough, you can actually get yourself into hypnosis anywhere. Now, guided hypnosis, that's what we do. You can either have somebody work with you, or you can listen personally, or you can listen to a recording. I make recordings of all of my sessions for my clients, and I give them that session so they can listen to it over and over again. I also have a YouTube channel that I have started making video recordings of certain things for certain things. I'm working on a sleep recording right now that I just finished writing. So you can do hypnosis using a guided recording. And then there's clinical hypnosis. Clinical hypnosis is cool because you don't just use it for, say, things like breaking habits, like quitting smoking or losing weight. You can use it for things like pain control, which I think is fascinating. I haven't used it much with other people, but I have used it on myself, and it does help. There's a whole community of people out there who do hypnobirthing, who will help women deliver babies using hypnosis. And I think that is absolutely fascinating. So using a hypnotherapist as a guide to get to your goal is what clinical hypnosis and hypnotherapy is all about. Now, a lot of people want to know, how does hypnosis work? So I found this fun little infographic here that pretty much explains it completely in 4 little panels. So when you come to see a hypnotherapist or you want to do hypnosis, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go and do an induction and get very relaxed, which takes your mind from your conscious mind and shifts it into the subconscious mind. I'm going to go through a few slides later what a hypnotherapy session looks like, because a lot of people ask me, well, what do you do in a hypnotherapy session? So I put that in here as well. When you get very relaxed, your mind is no longer in alert mode. So you're not taking in all of the exterior input, because you're not looking at things, you're not listening to anything other than what you're focusing on. And it removes resistance. You block out all the distractions and focus inward on yourself. It bypasses the critical conscious mind, which is the mind you use all the time when you're awake and making decisions, and you stop analyzing everything. That allows you to tap into your subconscious mind because you don't have any exterior distractions anymore. And then you can focus inward on yourself and the changes that you want to make in your life. So that is what happens when you go through hypnosis. Now, something that I find fascinating is brain waves. I listen to a lot of binaural, they call them binaural beats or binaural music, which focuses on certain frequencies of sound, which puts you into certain states. As the little colorful chart on the screen shows, normally your active vigilance state is beta waves, 13 to 30 hertz. When people get hypervigilant, say someone like me who has PTSD, we will go into the gamma wave brain waves. That's 30 to 100 hertz. That puts your nervous system into overdrive, and that's not a safe space to be in long term because it can actually cause physical issues, heart problems, and those types of things. Now, when you start to get into hypnosis, you go from beta to the alpha waves, which is 7 to 13 hertz. That's when you start getting relaxed, and that's the beginning of a meditative state. Like when you lay down to go to sleep at night, that's the first brainwave phase you get into. And then from there, you'll go into theta, which is light sleep or a deep meditative state. And that's where hypnosis happens, 4 to 7 hertz. And then if you hang out in hypnosis long enough and if nobody says anything, or you're listening to a recording, say, and the recording finishes, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to wake up or you're just going to go to sleep. So it's not harmful. I listen to hypnotherapy tracks at night when I go to bed because I have trouble shutting my brain off. And I never remember the end of whatever recording I'm listening to because I will fall asleep in the middle of it. So your deep sleep there is up to 4 hertz. So that's when you're sleeping at night and you're in your deep sleep state. There's your hypnosis state. I put a fancy arrow there for you. So the other thing I think is interesting is history. I love history. I'm always watching documentaries about things. So the history behind hypnosis and hypnotherapy is actually really interesting because it started earlier than most people think. Ancient civilizations actually were using hypnosis in their rituals, and they have apparently found practices that are resembling hypnotic inductions, which is what we use to put someone into a hypnotic state. And they use them for healing and for spiritual purposes. So it started out where a lot of things do in healing, which is medicine, and spiritual, which is religion. A lot of stuff we use today comes from those two branches of life. Now, in the 18th century, Franz Mesmer from Austria, he thought that there was life force coming from things. And he developed a theory called animal magnetism. And he would have patients go into a trance state, and he thought that would help them heal from whatever was wrong with them. And I don't know if it worked so much as it was a placebo, but I think it's interesting where he was going with that. Because then in the early 19th century, James Braid in Scotland, he was the one who came up with the term hypnosis because he thought it resembled sleep. So he took the Greek word hypnos. And he took that from the mystical aspects of mesmerism. He looked at it as a doctor and said, there's got to be something science-based going on here. So he started looking into that from the psychological aspect versus the spiritual aspect of it. And then as the 19th century went along, doctors and psychologists realized that they might be able to start treating problems using hypnosis. So they would try it for hysteria, pain, and psychosomatic disorders. And researchers like Jean-Martin Charcot in France continued to study it and use it in medicine. And everybody knows about Sigmund Freud. I think everyone has heard of Sigmund Freud. He used hypnosis initially, but then he went off into the psychoanalysis side of things. And he did a lot of research into unconscious processes and psychological theories and therapies. So he did start out using hypnosis and then decided that psychoanalysis was the way to go. The early 20th century, people started thinking that hypnosis was more quackery than anything else because of Freud. He said, no, we're not going to do hypnosis. Psychoanalysis is the way to go. Luckily, Erickson came along and said, I actually think this is more valuable than we think it is. So he focused on hypnosis, using it in a therapeutic mode. And that's where we started getting hypnotherapy really beginning. By the mid-20th century, doctors and psychiatrists and their organizations were really starting to recognize it as a valid therapeutic method to use. So a lot of organizations like the American Medical Association and the American Psychological Association now have said, yes, hypnosis is valid and it is helpful. So a lot of therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists are actually getting trained in hypnosis to augment their therapy methods. And then there's also a whole slew of us who have gone through extensive training in hypnotherapy and in different methods to help people and different techniques, because it's not just putting somebody into a trance and then talking to them. There's a lot of different methodologies that you can use to help somebody with hypnosis. Now, why would somebody decide, oh, let me try hypnotherapy? Personally, I came upon hypnotherapy because I wanted to try as many things as I could to help my PTSD. I went through therapy for years. I was on medication and nothing was really sticking. So I went through a whole bunch of other therapies. I did ketamine infusions, I did EMDR, and between those two things and hypnotherapy, it really helped. And I figured, let's throw things at the wall and see what sticks. And because I decided to pursue alternate therapies where traditional therapies were not working for me, I found hypnosis and I fell in love with the idea of helping people. And it's amazing. It's safe. There are no negative side effects. It's not invasive because you're just talking with people. you might be able to reduce the use of psychiatric medication. I actually came off of my antidepressant about a month ago completely because I was able to use hypnotherapy as one of the methods to heal. And I had been on that medication for almost 20 years. That's why I put that in there with the caveat at the bottom that you should always talk to your doctor before stopping or changing your medication. Because working with a hypnotherapist and your doctor, if you are getting better, you can talk to them about it. But you also want to be cautious if you do decide to try to get off of your medication. Now, with hypnotherapy or hypnosis, you can get to the root of the issue. A lot of people will just take medication to try to fix the symptoms because that's what our medical society has become. We treat the symptoms of the disease and we don't necessarily treat the underlying issues. So if we can use hypnotherapy to get to the root of the problem, instead of just treating the symptoms, we could potentially clear up whatever the issue is and actually help the client get better. It's very complementary with other therapies, talk therapy or medication, whatever the client is doing. It's complementary to that. And I also have spoken to clients, doctors, and psychiatrists about them and how to better help them. And you can actually also use hypnotherapy to help children. Children, because of the developmental stage that they're in their brains, they actually can be hypnotized more easily than adults because as adults, we have all these experiences and all of these things that we've used to put up walls. And we think that's what adults do. We think, we make decisions. Kids don't have to worry about that. Most kids don't have to worry about making important decisions. So trying to help a child with something using hypnosis is much more likely to be effective than it is with adults. And there's different methods that you can use with children, especially little children, to help them understand hypnosis and how we can help them with it. Now, what can you use hypnosis for? As I mentioned earlier, pain management. I've had people come to me for chronic pain. They've had chronic pain. They've done everything they can. They take medication for it. It still is there. And a lot of people who have chronic pain learn to live with a certain level of pain that to somebody that doesn't have chronic pain, that may be intolerable, but they've gotten used to it. We can use hypnosis to help turn that down and reduce their pain. It may still hurt, but it may go from a 6 or a 7 to a 1. And they're like, I can live at a 1. Stress and anxiety. I'm actually working on a course right now that I'm going to be releasing in January about banishing anxiety, because I think that a lot of people have anxiety and a lot of people don't want to take medication. And sometimes talk therapy doesn't quite do it for them. But hypnosis might, especially if they can use it in a way that they can take the class at their own pace. Hypnosis is very helpful for anxiety. Phobia and fear reduction. That's very common to work with people with phobias. Fears of everything from driving over bridges to spiders to snakes. Weight loss and healthy eating. I've been working with a program recently to lose some more weight with hypnosis. It's working. lost a couple of pounds already. I can say that it does work. Quitting smoking and other addictions, smoking, drinking, eating, bad eating habits. We can help with addictions. Improving sleep. There are so many people that have trouble sleeping. I've gotten numerous calls from people who have trouble sleeping and want to know if hypnosis can help. And it absolutely can. And there's a lot of other things that I didn't list. I just listed the most common ones, but there are other things that hypnosis can be used for. So I wrote a little thing on what does a hypnotherapy session look like? I know that hypnotherapy isn't common yet. I know a lot of people have never heard of it. So I decided let's talk about what does a session look like. So when you call up a hypnotherapist for help, they want to talk to you about the first thing I say to a client is, why did you contact me? Because I want to know what the issue they're having is and why they now decided to pursue hypnosis. And I want to talk about their goals and their concerns, any maybe medical history they may have or psychiatric history that they may have that may affect how difficult it might be for them to get into hypnosis. I want to establish a comfortable and trusting relationship with my client, because if you don't trust the person you're working with, it's not going to work. You have to completely trust your therapist. We have suggestibility exercises that we do, which helps us determine the best way to work with a client. That will show me how easily they take suggestion, which will then help me decide what type of induction to use with them. Now, a trance induction is what we use to start putting someone into hypnosis. We use relaxation techniques, guided imagery. You can do progressive muscle relaxation, breathing exercises. It all depends on how the client thinks. Some people are overly critical and you have to distract them while you're putting them into trance. And some people will just be like, okay, and they'll just go into trance. It depends on how rational people are and how much they like to be in control, which is why I always tell people, when you go into hypnosis, you're always in control. I'm not in control. I'm just the guide. So then after we induce the trance, then we deepen the trance. My favorite deepener is I have a staircase countdown that I use, that I have written and that I have rewritten countless times to make sure that it is spot on. And I use that with a lot of my clients because it resonates with people. Sometimes people don't like the thought of going downstairs or down into something. So if somebody has a problem, say they're scared of basements, I wouldn't necessarily take them down a flight of stairs. I would come up with something else to take them into somewhere straight, like a long hallway. That's another one that I use. A long hallway where there's doors off the hallway, and we'll do that instead of going down a staircase or down in an elevator. We use a lot of visualization and a lot of creativity. I actually like writing hypnotherapy scripts because I'm a writer by nature, and I get very creative with things. I love describing surroundings. So I get really into writing scripts when I write things for my clients. That's probably my favorite part, is writing for my clients. After we get somebody into the trance and appropriately deep into the trance, then we can use suggestion work, direct suggestions, indirect suggestions. There's a method called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. That is a lot of metaphors and putting those metaphors in your stories or your images. I am not good at NLP. I know people that are amazing with NLP, but I am not one of those people. I'm studying it so I can learn more about it and work with it. But right now, I am not an NLP person. And positive affirmations, that's very useful and very powerful for getting people to change behaviors and change beliefs about themselves. As I said earlier, a lot of people will come to see me because of anxiety, and that anxiety stems from something that happened in childhood. Say, a parent who constantly berates them and makes them think like they're not worthy or they're not a good enough person. We can help the client realize the truth about themselves and that what the parent was telling them is not true, and we can help them change that. Imagery and visualization, we can have them visualize themselves in whatever situation they're in and then change the narrative, change what the parent is saying to them, or change how they react to a situation. And a lot of times that will help them change their underlying behaviors and thoughts. Symbolic imagery, we can use symbols and metaphors to represent issues and help them work through things. We can use regression. We can bring people back to childhood. We can help bring them back to past lives to help them discover things about themselves. We also use parts therapy. We can have the client dialogue with the inner parts of their personality to help them resolve conflicts. We can use aversion therapy. That's really effective for habit breaking. It's really rough, though. It's a long process, and it's really hard. It's hard to go through. But everybody that I've ever used aversion therapy with has been successful quitting their habits. So it does work. It's just really hard to go through. And then we would give them post-hypnotic suggestions. We can use what's called a trigger and an anchor, where we have the client recognize a situation and then use a gesture or a repeat of words to help them in that moment. It's good for dealing with situations in the moment when they're out of hypnosis. So say somebody has anxiety and they get triggered by a certain type of person or a certain situation. You can give them an anchor to say, a lot of people will, squeeze your fingers together or make a fist or whatever gesture they want to do. So when they are out about in the world and they're using their coping skills and they get into that situation, they can fire the anchor and then repeat in their mind whatever phrase you have them say. And it will usually help them correct whatever is happening. So if they get anxious because they have to deal with certain types of people or certain people, and they get into a situation where there's that type of person, they can fire their anchor and say their phrase, and it will trigger that memory of doing that in hypnotherapy and help reduce their symptoms or help them not do whatever negative behavior that they were doing in that situation. Ego strengthening, boosting confidence and self-esteem. A lot of people have really low self-esteem. Most of that stems, again, childhood. So we help them realize that they are not the person that they think they are, because that's been embedded in their brain for so long. And we can help them raise their self-esteem. Positive reinforcement. We help them realize they are resilient and they are capable. And we have them give examples of that and their resilience. And you strengthen that. And encouragement. You tell the client, you remind the client that they can handle whatever the issue is or whatever they're going to come up with in the future. They can handle it. They're resilient. They're strong. And then we do a reorientation. Usually it's a count up. You'll bring them out of the trance. And then my phrase that I use, I always say to the client when they open their eyes, I always say, welcome back. My hypnotherapist would do that for me, and I liked it, so I stole it. And I told him that I stole it, and he thought that was very funny. So once we bring the client out of hypnosis, after I say, welcome back, then I say, when did you know you were hypnotized? Most people can tell me the instant that they were hypnotized, that they knew they were in hypnosis. Once in a while, I'll get somebody being like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it was this, maybe it was that. And usually they'll say something and I'll go, that is when I noticed that you were in hypnosis. Because I always like to watch my client while I'm doing a session, because sometimes they'll give you external cues as to what's going on in their head. And then you want to review the experience with them. You get feedback. How was it? Is there anything we can do differently next time? And then I tell them the next steps. If we want to do another session, I'll set that up. And then there's follow-up and ongoing support. I will always call the client or at least text them the next day saying, how's it going? And then I offer support. If you need anything, text me. If you run into an issue, text me, call me, email me. I always like to offer support, because sometimes one session may give them a little help, but they may need more encouragement or more fortifying going forward. So I'm always available for that also. Okay. Now we're going to do a little hypnosis session, because I figured we're talking about hypnosis. We might as well practice. Okay. So as the screen says, trust the process. If you want to experience hypnosis, you will. Follow my voice. Don't overthink anything. Trust yourself. So you can either sit down. I mean, everybody's sitting down. If you want to, you can lay down. Sometimes people feel more comfortable laying down somewhere. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay, I'll give you guys just a minute to get situated if you want to. Okay, I just turned off my video because it helps me concentrate when I'm not staring right at the screen. So you guys can still hear me. And once we're done, I'll turn the video back on. Okay. I want you to begin by finding a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Allow your body to settle and get more comfortable. Open your eyes and roll them up to where you feel a little eye strain. Focus on a spot on the ceiling or somewhere in front of you. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. Let's do that again. Focus on that spot and inhale deeply. Then exhale slowly. Feel the air entering your lungs and then leaving your body. Each breath is a signal to your body to relax even more deeply. Take one more deep breath in and out. Now breathe normally while I count down from 5 to 1. And on the number 1, you will close your eyes and descend deeply into trance. 5. Focus on that spot. 4. Eyelids getting heavier and heavier. 3. Your eyes blinking is hypnosis coming on. 2. Keep focusing on that spot. And 1. Eyes closed now as you go deeply into trance. Imagine now that you look around and find yourself standing in a great forest. There is a dirt path beneath your feet and the scent of pine in the air. You feel a light breeze and see the bright sun filtering through the trees, making dappled shadows on the ground in front of you. You begin walking down the path and hear the sounds of birds chirping, and you hear rustling leaves as you move toward the edge of the forest. Just ahead of you, there is a bright green valley bathed in sunlight that stretches for miles below. A staircase appears in front of you, and you place your hand on the sturdy handrail with the knowledge that you must follow the stone steps down to wherever it leads. 10. Take the first step down. Feel the solid step beneath your feet grounding you. 9. Feeling the smooth, cool handrail in your palm. 8. You feel a wave of calm washing over you. 7. Every step you take causes you to relax more and more. 6. Your body feels heavier and heavier. 5. Relax. 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 4. Moving further down now, you feel safe, secure, and at peace. 3, moving down, down, and down. 2, you begin to hear the sound of a rushing stream and take another deep breath in. 1, and let the breath out. You feel so relaxed as you take the last step down into the sunlight. Follow the path forward and cross a footbridge over a stream. Before you, there is a wooden cabin and a woven hammock hanging between 2 trees. Lay down and rest in the hammock with the sun bathing you in warmth as you close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out as you focus on that feeling of warm sunlight. Feel the warm light on the crown of your head. It moves down around the back of your head and up to your forehead, smoothing away any tension. It flows into your temples and around your eyes. Your cheeks and jaw relax as the light continues down your face. Allow your tongue to rest gently at the bottom of your mouth and feel the light flow down into your neck. The light continues its journey down your spine, into your shoulders and your back, soothing and comforting you. Feel it moving into your chest, down your arms, and into your hands, bringing relaxation and peace. You notice the sunlight has warmed your stomach, pelvis, and your hips. It drifts down into your thighs and fills your knees and calves, releasing any remaining tightness. You feel so incredibly relaxed as the light reaches your ankles and your feet. You don't want to move at all. In this place of deep relaxation, know that you are absolutely safe and secure. Now that your mind is open and receptive to my suggestions, I want you to listen as I repeat the following affirmations. I am confident and self-assured. I am confident and self-assured. I am confident and self-assured. I believe in myself and all of my abilities. I believe in myself and all of my abilities. I believe in myself and all of my abilities. I handle challenges with ease and grace. I handle challenges with ease and grace. I handle challenges with ease and grace. I am worthy of success and happiness. I am worthy of success and happiness. I am worthy of success and happiness. I trust myself to make the right decisions. I trust myself to make the right decisions. I trust myself to make the right decisions. These affirmations resonate within you, strengthening your sense of confidence. Imagine this feeling of confidence growing stronger with each breath you take. It fills your entire being, radiating from within. From this moment forward, you will carry this sense of confidence with you in all that you do. Whenever you need to feel confident, you can take a deep breath and remember this feeling. You are capable, you are competent, and you are worthy. Each day you feel more empowered and more committed to your journey. You find yourself feeling confident and brave, and you know exactly what you need. Now, in a moment, I'm going to count up from 1 to 5. When I reach 5, you'll return to the present moment, feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to continue on your journey toward health, well-being. Starting now at 1, bringing awareness back to your body. 2, feeling the energy returning to your arms and legs. 3, feeling refreshed and ready to embrace the day. 4, taking a deep breath in, feeling awake and alive. And 5, fully alert, eyes open, feeling wonderful in every way. Welcome back, everybody. Now, questions to ask yourself. My favorite question for my clients: at what point did you know you were hypnotized? If anybody wants to unmute and talk about it, you can. And then the next question you ask is, how do you feel now? That's what I always ask. At the beginning of a session, we go in with an intention, and then I see if the client has.
Is my audio working? Did I
Yes,
get it?
it is, Kayla. Hi.
Hey, all right. Oh, no, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much. I
Welcome.
really needed that. But I'm one of those people who don't like going down staircases. And I really love the way that you put this one where, that vast green valley and you're walking down the stairs. So it was really comforting for me. And that's when I realized that I was completely comfortable the whole time, whereas before I would have stopped myself, but because I was in hypnosis, it all just flowed and that comfort level was there. And that was the moment that I was just free to go deep, and it was beautiful.
Awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, I try to keep it I don't like to keep it like enclosed. I try to make it as open and
Open.
nature filled as possible, because I think
Yes.
more people can get to that point where they're like, oh, okay, this is safe, cool.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
How you doing, Judy?
I'm okay. Uh, I'm thinking I started to feel I was hypnotized when I got onto the hammock and was feeling the sun on me. And then when you started doing the affirmations, then I really knew I was hypnotized
Excellent.
because I couldn't distinguish where the voice was coming from.
Awesome. Have you ever done hypnosis before?
No, but I've done a lot of meditation.
So you're familiar.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's awesome. I know Frank is kicking around somewhere. He's probably just quietly listening in the background.
No, Frank
he
will turn
is.
on his camera.
Hi, Frank. How are
You can see me.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What do you
And
think?
so what do I think? So I will start for everybody else in the audience that I am an energy healer. And one of the techniques we use is a guided meditation. It's called the Two Powers meditation. And I'm very familiar with it. And I drew a lot of similarities to what your script was with it. I will say that.
Awesome. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. Now I like to end things with a Q&A. Does anybody have any questions for me about anything, any of this?
Can hypnotherapy help overcome procrastination?
Absolutely. Why not? If you want to change something about yourself, it can absolutely help. As a procrastinator myself, I can say that I have pumped myself up with hypnosis and said, listen, we need to focus. You need to do XYZ. And it helps. It definitely helps. I can't say I'm cured from my procrastination, but it definitely helps me focus more on what I need to do. I'm like, okay, I need to clean the kitchen. Let's focus on that goal and then we'll go and do it.
I would just like to add that I really used hypnosis to work on my procrastination because I was I was bad and I can admit that. And it's so funny now because I have actually completely healed myself of the procrastination to the point that I don't even remember being a procrastinator. It's so funny how I just do things now and I'm like, wow, like where'd that come from? Because in the past I would have completely stopped and I would have done all these things. And I think that that's where the transformation comes is once you work on things on a subconscious level, they become natural. You know, it's just like driving a car. And that's what I love most about hypnosis. So if you're really trying to work on that, hypnosis for the win. I will completely advocate for that.
I mean, I'm willing to try it for anything at this point. I've been doing this for a year now, and if I don't know or if I haven't worked with somebody with a certain issue before, I'll just go in and write something new because all bad habits, quote unquote, come from somewhere. You just have to figure out how to bypass that and reprogram those old habits to change. And there are so many different techniques you can use that are out there, probably some I've never heard of that I have yet to discover. But I do have a whole boatload of friends who are also hypnotherapists. So we collaborate sometimes on things also. I'll call somebody, I'll be like, I have this kind of client. What do you think I should do? So yeah, I absolutely think that it could work with procrastination. I totally agree with Kayla. Frank, you have any questions? I'm gonna single him out.
I know you're going to single me out. No, I don't have any questions right now, but thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, if nobody else has anything, we're going to end the video because I think I've gone over everything that I can think of. If anybody does think of anything, you can contact me. My website is at the bottom of the screen because why not? I'm also all over social media with the same business name, Meredith B. Kastner Hypnotherapy. I am on Twitter, and no, I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I am on YouTube now. I have a YouTube channel. This video, excuse me, this video is going to go up on YouTube. I have to take a look at it, make sure it's okay, and then we'll post that also for people to look at. So thank you everyone for coming. I appreciate it. This was my first class, so I was very excited to run it. So we'll see what the reception is. Maybe I'll do another class. I hope everybody has a fantastic evening. And thank you again for coming.
Thank you. That was great. Nice to meet you, Kayla and Frank also.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great
Take
night.
care.
You too.